It really doesn't matter where the stock market is going for the Medallion Fund.
One of my listeners, a friend of mine who hosts a podcast himself, James Altucher, wants to know the proprietary algorithms of the Medallion. No, he wants to know, has it become harder for you, given the rise in quantitative hedge funds, quant funds, and the thousands of PhDs trying to create new algorithms? Has that made it harder to create alpha? So can you say what alpha means in the context of hedge funds for people that aren't familiar, and then answer that particular question?
Well, when you say alpha, first you have to understand beta. And beta is the stock market as a whole. Let's say the S&P average. So you could just invest in that, and you would be 100% beta. All your return would come from let's say the S&P, the Standard & Poor's average. Alpha is a source of earnings that is orthogonal to that. It's orthogonal to that. And so that's alpha. Now, our Medallion Fund is, I think, 90% alpha, 95% alpha. It really doesn't matter where the stock market is going for the Medallion Fund. We have, now the Medallion Fund is only open to employees of the company, of Renaissance, and me, of course, as the founder and shareholder. And we have some publicly available funds which do have some beta. They're not 100% alpha. But of course, they don't do as well as Medallion, but they do quite well until today. Today they had a bad day.
No. I'm sorry. Again, I'm always here if you need a cup of sugar. I'm here.
Okay. All right.
So in that space, the question is, I've heard it described that these supercomputers and computers in general are, of course, increasing exponentially. Example of computing power over time, and cost is coming down. And yet the supercomputers themselves are suffering from the fact that there's more subscriptions. There's more people that want to use the computer now than in the earlier days. So it's sort of offsetting the exponential gains in processing power. And I guess James Altucher's question here is, has just the net quantity of hedge funds and quant PhDs?
Yes, I understand. And I didn't answer that question.
Yeah.
So I think the question is, do we have competition, and how much competition? Has competition hurt us at all? Because there are more and more quantitative funds. Up to a point, I think most funds are not quantitative funds, but there's certainly an increasing number of funds that are quantitative. And our secret is just to stay ahead of everybody, to hire the best possible people. And the research goes on all the time. We're doing research, trying to find new predictive signals. For example, that's a big example. So a signal is, well, you know what a signal is. It tells you a predictive signal is a signal that tells you what's going to happen.
With some probability of, right.
With a probability greater than a half. And the more of these signals that you have, and independent, they're not correlated with each other. If they're highly correlated, it's really just one signal. But the more you have, the better. And we have, I won't even say the number, and I'm not sure what it is, but it's a very large number of predictive signals. And they keep being developed. And sometimes these signals lose their power.
Yes.
And you have to discard them. Other people have caught on, or whatever. In the earliest days of my trading, I traded commodities. And commodities had a tendency to trend, a pretty strong tendency to trend. So that was a good way to make money. You would just say, well, if it was up last week, it's likely to be up next week, or so on. But people gradually caught on to trending. Mm-hmm. So after several years, or maybe 10 years after I started in the business, the trending in commodities had completely disappeared. The stocks never trended particularly, so there was no real trending in stocks, but commodities there was. And so that's an example of a signal that mm-hmm. just disappeared.
Hmm. So that's
and so other people, we keep discovering new signals. Other people might find some of those as well, and that might the effect of that might be that the signal kind of goes away because too many people are using it. Mm-hmm. But so we have awfully smart people, and they keep coming up with new signals. So and we've stayed way ahead.